to The Hop, the craft beer podcast with Gabriel Apria and Stephen Humes. I am Stephen Humes. That right over there is Gabriel Apria.
I'm right here. Hey, how's it going? I'm right over here.
There he is. He's in the room. And this is a craft beer podcast where we make craft beer fun, informative, inclusive, and entertaining each and every week. This week is one of those weeks. Welcome in. Welcome to it. Thank you for finding us.
Oh boy, me oh my, call a doctor. Booze Brothers Brewing, Triple B, as Guy Fieri would say if it was Triple D on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. But this is way better than that. We got Booze Brothers Brewing. We're very excited. Steven magically found these beers and said, hey, Gabe, I got you, fam. And we are in it now. We've got two awesome beers. We're drinking the same ones, finally. And we're really looking forward to it. So grab a drink, grab some snacks, grab that treadmill if you're at the gym. Apparently people like to listen to us when they're at the gym. Hey, I'm all for it.
Booze Bros. We have often been referred to as Booze Bros, I would say.
Correct the window.
But today it's about Booze Brothers Brewing out of San Diego area of California. Yeah, one of those breweries that you may not have heard of. I hadn't heard of prior to obtaining these beers, but they look cool. They look interesting. They look exciting. And I am pumped to get into it. So settle in. And as we say every week, if you haven't done so already, please engage with The Hop on the social media. We are at the HO Podcast on Instagram and X. You can
it just
follow
sounds
her.
weird.
It's awful, and I'll never get used to it, and I hate it. It's the worst thing ever, and I know this has been talked about, and I'm just going to let it go. I got to stop doing this.
The artist formerly known as Twitter.
It's like, I just notice people now when they say it, they are trying to not have this attitude anymore, so they're just like, follow on X, and it never comes across genuine.
No.
We're all still hating it. Anyway, at the HO Podcast, Gabe is at Gabe867. I'm at Shakespeareist. You can engage with The Hop on Facebook. You can send us an email if you have suggestions or requests, things you want to hear on the show, thehopod@gmail.com. Tell your friends, tell your family, rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen. We appreciate it. Also, check us out on the YouTube. We are a video podcast, and you can see us live and in Zoom each and every week. On youtube.com. Just search for The Hop of Craft Beer Podcast. Subscribe, click the bell, all the things. We appreciate it.
Let us know what breweries to hit up next. Let us know what breweries to repeat. Let us know if Twitter should pick another letter. I'm open to many. I think there are many better options. I think we can call the board of trustees and say, hey, listen, what if we called it Q? I don't know. It's the first
Follow
thing that came
over
to my
on
head.
L. It's
Bro, are you on L, bro?
Elon just has a thing about that letter. Like, I think one of his kids is named that. It's a Tesla model. He tried to, yeah.
Well,
No, it doesn't make sense. No, it does not.
No, not that it makes sense, but it all ties in together. And what's X in Roman numerals? Is that 10?
That is 10, yeah.
How long has Twitter been alive for? Like, comment, and subscribe to give us that answer, because we're too lazy to Google it.
All right, let's get into the news.
Beer news.
Already off to a magical start. Let's see. Highlights. Diageo, you may be familiar with them. You may not. You probably should be. This isn't really beer news, but it's RTD news. They're rolling out a new line of RTD cocktails. You may already know they have the one with the bullet. They have a Manhattan and an old fashioned that it's a ready to drink. You can buy it in the bottle, ready to go. Well, they're doing one with a couple with Kettle One and one with Tanqueray. So that's kind of cool. They're doing a Cosmopolitan and an Espresso Martini Kettle One RTD thing. And then a Tanqueray Negroni. So
the Bullet Old Fashioned I actually have, and it's pretty good. It's very convenient bringing it to a party, because you can't just like show up with all the tools necessary to make an old fashioned. That would be weird. You would need to rely on who's ever hosting the party to have all the product. But if you just show up with this bad boy, I think you just take the top off and pour, and you're good to go.
Well, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of it that way. Diageo owns a bunch of, the very famous brands that you've heard of, obviously, like Bullet, like Kettle One, like Tanqueray. So Diageo is a big deal, and they are expanding their RTD line. Good for them. Hope it goes well. Also, a shout out to our friends over at Lawson's Finest Liquids. I say friends. I don't know that they know who we are, but we sure know them.
We love their beer, though.
We do love their beer. Great brewery out of Vermont. Also brews a little in Connecticut. You can listen to our Lawson's episode, round 31, if that is of interest to you. They have achieved their goal of operating a 100% solar-powered brewery. We had talked about this, that they were kind of moving in this direction, certified B Corp, doing a lot of that kind of stuff. But they've officially announced a couple weeks ago that they did achieve this goal. They have a bunch of sustainability initiatives and different things that they've incorporated into their brewery to be completely operating as a solar-powered brewery. So
that is absolutely wild. The solar power thing, we've seen a lot of breweries do this. We've seen a lot of them, maybe not 100% power, but there's definitely like a third of our energy comes from the sun, and that's pretty dope. But yeah, this is a huge deal. 100% gonna take down some costs in the brewery to start with, but environments and whatnot, good for you. We love you, Lawson's. You guys are great.
And reducing the environmental impact. They have the largest solar canopy in the state of Vermont. They have a parking structure with covered parking spaces, a bunch of solar modules on top of that. They have electric vehicle charging stations. It goes on and on. We have talked about this before, so I don't want to spend too much time here, but we wanted to give them their props and their due for achieving the goal. It is great to see, and something that, a trend that hopefully more breweries can follow.
Yay!
Yay, indeed.
All right, our first story is coming out of Chicago in the form of Metropolitan Brewing. Unfortunately, they are filing for Chicago 11 bankruptcy. Is that how you say that? Chapter 11?
Chapter 11.
I saw CH, I just ran with Chicago.
Chapter 11 bankruptcy. I think there's different chapters of bankruptcy, and they're on 11.
Wow. I didn't know that. I thought bankruptcy was one universal, you ain't got no money. Anywho,
I don't know. We could be wrong.
Yeah, we probably are. They were founded in 2009. They're one of Chicago's oldest breweries. They're unfortunately now at risk of closing down, although owners Doug and Tracy Hurst have said that they are hopeful that they won't need to close down and that they can resolve their issues this winter. The article that we found goes on to say they cited, quote, unsustainable debt, a years-long rent dispute. I live in New York. I get it. And tepid retail sales. So unfortunately, there was a lot going on. I'm sure COVID sure as hell probably didn't help. The article says that they're owing close to more than $1 million in back rent, among many other things. Why are they in the news and notes? Well, it's news. It's not fun news for everyone, but maybe if we get the word out, y'all can donate $1 or $2 and keep this brewery afloat. They're one of the oldest ones in Chicago, 2009. Doug and Tracy Hurst, we are with you. We will not play the funeral music when a brewery closes because y'all haven't closed yet. You are down. You are not out.
Yeah, they're in a whole thing with their landlord that you can read about if you want to. It goes on and on about, the amount of space they thought they were signing for and they ended up signing for, and they've rent and they wanted to change it and they haven't paid rent in a long time in the breweries. And then they also had to take out loans on equipment. And so they got a lot to figure out. But if you are a fan and you're in Chicago, you might want to go pay a little visit because you might not have much opportunity to do so, but also... yeah, we're with you, Doug and Tracy. We'd love to see breweries succeed. We hope you pull it out or an investor turns up or something, because we hope you can turn it around.
Hey, listen, we've talked about people showing up paying $83 million in cash. Anything is possible. I don't know what's going on in Chicago. Great city. But, we're with you guys. So keep going.
And in other news... coming out of Georgia, Creature Comforts Brewing Attempts to formally recognize a union for their employees have failed. We've talked about this. The Creature Comforts employees had formed a union. They called it the Brewers Union Guild, or BUG. And basically, this was like back in January. The brewery management was given the opportunity to just willingly and voluntarily recognize the union. They did not do it. This led to months of back and forth. The BUG appealed to the National Labor Relations Board, submitting a total of 4 complaints alleging unfair labor practices, union busting, things like that. The NLRB ruled in August that the employees could take a vote, and that vote happened. The vote officially landed at 32 to 21 not to recognize the union. So employees chose not to unionize as a unit. The Brewers Union Guild is challenging the election, but it's a statement from the employees that they really don't want to be unionized. So that's on them. I have read a little bit about it on the cesspool that is Reddit to just see what's going on, and it just seems like some employees at this union or this brewery felt that the union didn't really have a plan or wasn't really giving them a clear course of action, among some other things that they weren't happy about. So it's about 2/3 vote against, so it's pretty definitive. A spokesperson for the brewery did say that employees, quote, voted to affirm the incredible culture and company that we have already built together at Creature Comforts. So interesting.
Little bit of darkness to start today's episode.
Little downer of news and notes today, but
Hey, listen, it's the week. We are recording just a tad early as usual, so it is what it is.
But hey, Lawson's got their solar powers going, and Diageo's pumping out Kettle One cocktails. So there's happy things happening.
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah.
I would love to propose a toast to something that is near and dear to my heart.
Okay, well, let's play some happy music then.
Why not?
Pick up the vibes.
This is specific to our first beer. I'll explain later. This is a poem by Verdant Kuo, and it's called Ramen. I carry a white noodle bowl carefully up to my chin. I smile as my nose catches the steam so gray and thin. I set the bowl down gently because it was too hot. I take this time to ponder the noodles I have got. A small carrot captain rides his vessel south, but the spoony seas are violent and bring him to my mouth. Legions of green sprouts are armed and at the ready, but their base was built on broth, and therefore is unsteady. A scallion sergeant paces, he's timid and afraid, and hopelessly fell in love with a mushroom mermaid. The brothy land changes as beef enters the scene. Into the broccoli scouts, this meat is only mean. Finally the egg, who knows he's the best, will wander around the edges till he decides to rest. The dinner's duty done, I tilt the ocean east and drain the sea of veggies into the belly of the beast. I take the styrofoam bowl and poke a hole in its side. The bowl is now found empty. All of my friends have died.
Well, we learned that music doesn't go anywhere. It's just a loop. It's just a circle. It's a hamster wheel.
That.
I
thought I was gonna time it out right. Nope.
It does. It'll just go and go and go like the Energizer Bunny. I like when the toasts are like stupid poems with the worst rhymes ever.
And they don't make any sense. But after we introduce our first beer, you'll understand.
It'll all
why.
make sense. All right. Well, that's enough of the pomp and circumstance. Let's get to it.
Andiamo.
All right, Booze Brothers Brewing. We are kicking it off with the Gonzo Mania. This is a Japanese lager with yuzu, which is very cool. And full disclosure, Gabe and I both, for whatever reason, keep calling this brewery Gonzo Brewery. That's
Well,
incorrect.
You keep calling it Gonzo Brewery, therefore I called it Gonzo Brewery once.
We were programming, and I was like, let's do Gonzo because, it's November 2nd. Dia de los Muertos, by the way. Happy.
Yes.
Feliz Dios de los Muertos, if you celebrate.
Try saying that 10 times fast.
Yeah. But, I was like, well, Halloween is Gonzo. Let's do Gonzo Brewing. That's wrong.
He said it.
I said it.
We're going to see how many times in the episode we can say that without annoying the hell out of ourselves.
Get it? Well, anyway, this beer is actually called the Gonzo. It's the Gonzo Mania. Can art is dope. Gabe will get to that later. It comes in at 5.0% alcohol by volume. We do not have ratings for Beer Advocate across the board here. Untapped has it at 3.67. IBUs are at 11. From the brewery. Walking through the heat-struck streets of a summer day, you feel the sun bearing down heavily on your face and the dryness of your parched throat. As you continue walking home, you spy an odd cat blocking the doorway of a nearby tavern. The cat turns towards you, raises its left paw, stares at you blankly, and continues down the road. A lucky omen? You take the hint and step inside to a seat at the bar. On tap, you find Gonzo Mania, a Japanese lager with yuzu, a unique, refreshing lager with subtle notes of lemon and mandarin orange. Your eyes light up as you take a drink, for you have found the meaning behind the lucky cat.
Freaking men.
Can I be honest with you, Gabe? I got more than I bargained for reading that. I started to read it, and I got most of the way down that paragraph, and I was like, are we going to talk about the beer, or is this just a poem? What are we doing here?
A little bit of both, yes, and, it works both ways.
But I liked it in the end.
Now, what does the toast have to do with any of this? Apparently, this is a Japanese lager, but it is a collaboration between the brewery and Gonzo Ramen.
Yes.
A spot that gave a little bit of influence into this beer. Apparently, this is a beer you want to drink with ramen. Steven, I don't know about you. You and I have been to Ivan Ramen's place. I freaking love ramen. I will have ramen every night of the week if I can. I always make some sort of protein with it. I throw in the scallions, the soft-boiled egg. I go for it. I freaking love ramen. So, doing research about this beer, I said, yes, please, let's do it. I'm very pumped.
Yeah, I love ramen, and honestly, it was when we were living in New York and we went to Ivan Ramen. It was kind of a revelation because ramen, you think of Marussian instant ramen, like what we all ate in college. And while I'm not here to knock that, because time and place,
oh yeah,
it's the actual art of ramen is a whole different thing entirely. And that Ivan Ramen experience was like a revelation, and it's a journey. And you take a dive into that bowl, and it's delicious and full of umami and happiness, and it's a little sinus clearing if you're a fan of the spice like Steven is.
Oh yeah. It's literally wild. There's a place near me, they do the whole thing. You can get extra, you make your own bowl. Oh man, I love it so much. And I do the thing, this is the last thing I'll say about ramen. I do the thing on Instagram where I'll just search ramen and watch how people make it. And I'm like, oh, that's different. Let me try that next time. I'm going to try it with a different sauce. And, you don't just put everything in the pot and let it go. You can make the noodles and then do the blah, 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 blah. Let's drink beer.
Yeah, and it's got yuzu in it. It's, what the fuck is yuzu, Steven? Well, I'll tell you. It's a citrus fruit that comes from Japan. It's similar to a clementine in the way it looks. And it's a Japanese citrus. And so, actually it starts in China, but it's an Asian citrus. And so this being a Japanese lager, it's probably got some rice in the malt. They tend to do that kind of rice lager thing. And this would be perfect with a bowl of ramen. I'm excited for it. It's also a style we don't have very often on the hop, which is why I grabbed at it. Because we like to do stuff like that. So, that said, here it is in the glass. It's sunshine. It's pale yellow, golden yellow almost. It's on the SRM chart around a 3. It's clear. It's bubbly. It poured with a fairly dense foamy cap.
Yeah, fun head retention.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like a little pillow going.
Yep. Lacing, not too much, but a little bit is there. It is definitely clear. It's not hazy or cloudy at all. It's definitely just sort of a see-through golden lager. It looks like, I don't want to say like a Bud Light, but I guess kind of in that world. I mean, it's a clear looking shiny lager. It's nice.
There it is.
What's going on with your glass there?
It disappeared. I don't know. It's not green, but I guess on camera.
It's yellow.
It certainly smells like a lager. It certainly has that kind of hay vibe to it. But I think because of the yuzu, it gives off a little bit more sweetness and it makes it a little bit more fun off the smell right away.
Yeah, that is grassy. That is certainly malt forward, but a lot of grass, a lot of hay. I don't get a whole lot of the citrus or the yuzu immediately on the nose. It's probably more for the taste, but the smell is musky almost. It's got this quality of some rice, some cereal and honey and sort of like that bready thing, but very earthy, very grassy, like putting your face in a hay bale. Happy Halloween.
Happy fall.
Happy fall.
It's the perfect time to do it. So, I mean, as always, it's not really going to do too much just sitting in the glass. So, I mean, might as well just drink it, right?
So, wheels up. Here we go.
Yuzu. It's got some good carbonation. It's not too much. It's got like a real sweet note to it. Obviously that has to do with the yuzu coming forward, but it's got this like orangey aftertaste. It's got a nice like I would say like clementine finish as it goes down. At least it's a little dry, but it's a good dry. It makes for a very light beer. This would go well with a meal. This would go perfect with ramen. They were right. Holy crap.
Yeah, I would say that drinking this beer is interesting because it starts with the traditional malty sort of like lagerish maltiness. The earthy hay hits you right up front. You get that kind of cereal. Then you get that little sweetness, the malty sweetness, the honey, or like agave, something in that nature, a little bit of corn, a little bit of bread, and the fruitiness is definitely there. It's on the back end, and it hits you with this like very subtle back of the palate hit of citrusness, which I agree with you. It's pithy, and it's almost clementine is the closest thing that I know how to relate it to. It's definitely, or maybe grapefruit. It's definitely a darker citrus. It's not tropical. It's not that kind of sweet. But it's got a little acidity in the back end. Mouthfeel, it's well carbonated. It drinks light. And it's pretty clean on the back end. It's 5% ABV. Very easy to drink.
It's so delicious. I love this.
It says it's just like it has that deliciousness of an easy drinking lager with a slight like a slight little kiss of the yuzu. It's just like, oh, something new floating in the back.
What's this?
What? Yeah. What are you?
Yeah. It's got like that little extra oomph to it. So it's not like just a boring lager. Oh yeah, it's they slapped a cat on it and call it a day. No, this cat came to party, and it's really good. I really like this. This brewery is known for kind of mixing up their styles in a way. So this was a great way to start.
And this would go great with a bowl of ramen, especially if it's spicy. Like this is just gonna accent without distracting.
Yeah,
it's going to bring just enough to the party, but it's not going to be the star of the show if you don't want it to be.
Right. But it's subtle enough that it's not too much. I feel like it's like just enough.
Yeah, it's got some florality to it, a little bit of lavender, and then that citrus again, the clementine, maybe a little lemon. Like there's a lemon quality to it. There's definitely layers here if you want to sit and dissect it the way we are right now. But if you want just an easy drinker, you don't have to think about, this can also be that. It's not too intense in any way, shape, or form.
I feel classy. Thoughts?
Well, this cat on the can sure as hell is classy. Or maybe he's got Riz. I don't know. He's got something. But he is rocking some shades, but they're like those almost like Doc Brown Back to the Future, visory
futuristic
shades.
Ones, yeah.
He's got what appears to be like a jingle bell around his neck or something. He's raising his hand, his little paw. I like him.
He's doing the cat thing where you see the paws just moving. They're like in the store. It's like that little statue.
Sure.
You go into like if you went into a ramen place, there's like a little cat statue and the one arm is just moving.
Oh, is that a thing? Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
I didn't know that.
That little statue guy.
Okay.
You would know if you saw it.
I'm going to take your word for this and we're going to move on. Booze Brothers Brewing was started by, and this is going to shock everyone, a pair of brothers. David and Donny Firth started the company in 2008. Age-old story. They were in a garage. They had a hobby. It became an obsession. And in 2008, they officially formed their company. They are in the San Diego area. So a little bit north of San Diego, closer to Oceanside. They have 3 locations now, one in Vista, one in Oceanside, and one in somewhere else that is like a fall something. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but
Fallbrook,
city.
California.
Is that what it is? Fallbrook?
At the mill in Fallbrook. That's what it says. Yep,
that's what it is. So yeah, they are expanding quite a bit, have been expanding quite a bit since then. The newest location was opened in 2020, but as you can imagine, that increases our capacity to can, and that's why we're able to get these brewers up here now. But they have a lot of different locations. They also have a pizza shop. They're doing a lot, and the locations are dope. The one I'm at, if you're on YouTube behind me here, this is the main tap room, the OG tap room in Vista. Gabe is at which one, Gabe? Where are you? You're on a rooftop somewhere.
I'm on a rooftop, so dealer's choice, because I'm not sure which location it is, but it is a very fancy rooftop. I might be at the Vistonian. I'm not sure, but it's a lot of fun, and I think it's only fate that made us do this brewery with what I have going on in my life, because I can get married at this brewery if I want to.
Is that on the table?
It's not on the table.
Has that been discussed? I don't want to make your...
We're dropping this episode soon, so it's about to get discussed.
I don't want to make your wedding planning a public event, but that would be awesome. And honestly, would save me a lot of money on travel.
Yeah, it would help you out. It would save me a lot of just details I wouldn't have to plan, because it would just be all here. But yeah, they basically, it's called the Woodshed. It's in Vista. And they basically convert their brewery into a wedding space. And they set up the chairs and they do the whole spiel. They do everything. And here's the thing. You think like, oh, that's funny. That's catchy. Like, okay, a little kitschy. Oh, a wedding for a couple of beer heads. Okay, fine. It doesn't look bad. Like, it actually looks kind of nice.
No, I mean, they have event spaces at, I guess it's at their Vistonian location, and then the one at the Woodshed. The Woodshed is like, so the Woodshed is this one in, what did we say it was called? Fallbrook, Fallville, Fallisman.
Fallisman. I like that.
And the
Woodshed
one is like, I think they own, they operate a tap room within what is an event space in and of itself. There's like other vendors inside there, and they are one of them, I think is the deal there. But yeah, these wedding pics look pretty dope. Gabe,
Right?
I'm just
Like,
saying.
they look really good.
They look great.
I'm like this couple got a photo. I'm looking at one, and they've got like the barrels behind them. Like, that's pretty cool, you know? And the walking down the aisle, like it's got like the wood, the brownish wood, like that's kind of a vibe we're going for. We'll be looking at a lot of weddings venues where it's like kind of barn like, because that's kind of the style these days. But like beautiful chandelier, some greenery, and this couple's drinking a beer. Good for them. If you like are like die hard, like all we drink is beer, honestly.
This brewery has a really cool vibe to it. They are West Coast through and through, so they're distributed now by Carl Strauss and a few other distribution companies here. So they're able to reach up to like Oregon, but they're very West Coast, and they describe themselves as having a focus on innovative classic beers with a portfolio of West Coast IPAs, pale ales, lagers, ambers, browns, and stouts.
Yeah.
That pretty much covers most of it.
Yeah, that's our show.
Yeah, I love when a brewery is like, we focus on ales and lagers. It's like,
no shit.
Those are the two options. Yeah, but the West Coast IPA thing, I love as well, because it's just a brewery that knows who they are and what they are, and they aren't trying to be trendy. But
you mentioned it earlier. They do have their own pizza spot called Pizza Bros. It's the food component of the brewery. They use handmade sourdough to create their special Neapolitan pizzas, as well as fresh salads and more. But who cares about that? Pizza, though. Insane. Fresh sourdough. Listen, I have come to experience what it's like to harvest, I don't know what the word is, your own sourdough, but it is quite the project. I'm not doing it. My fiancée used to do it. She used to make her own sourdough, and like it was wild. And there's this machine, and you gotta feed. She's like, I gotta feed my starter. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? You gotta put like water and flour. It's wild.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. People got really into it.
She makes a focaccia bread, and it's like the best thing I've ever eaten. It's insane.
I love sourdough. Don't get me wrong. And again, that's a very Californian thing, because sourdough is very San Francisco. This brewery is San Diego, but it's a very California thing. So it makes sense. And, you know, I love a pair of brothers that serves up a kick-ass brewery and also a pizza shop.
And also
wish my brothers would do that.
And also 2 wedding venues. Like, what aren't they
and some
doing?
wedding venues.
Also, please go to their main website and click on the About section, because the photo, like, I want to get this tattoo. It's like 2 guys, one's holding what appears to be some sort of rifle, and the other has a knife, and it's a little scary, but their heads are a beer can and a bottle. It just looks so cool.
It kind of gives me like Sleepy Hollow vibes.
Yeah.
If I'm honest. It's like these headless figures clutching weapons. It's a little creepy, but also kind of cool.
They're also barefoot for whatever reason. Anywho.
That's why we have Gabe, his attention to detail.
That's what I do.
All right. Final thoughts on the yuzu before we move on to another brew.
Love it. I did already eat dinner, but I wish I had another one so I could make ramen, because I would love it. But all food aside, it is very good. It's very delicious. It has a lot of strong flavors to it, but it's light enough that it's not going to make you really full. And okay, I'm going to go back to it. With ramen, you know, if you put a lot of stuff in it, you're going to be very full. Like, it's a big meal if you're just eating that. So to pair a beer with it, you know, you're not drinking a double IPA with ramen. You're going to like pass out. But with this, it's a perfect component. I love the flavors in it. I'm a very big fan of this beer.
Yeah, I think it's a great take on the style with a slight little twist to it. But it's true to form. It's a style that you don't see as often. Just the Japanese lager in general in this country is, I think, underrepresented and underrespected. And so I like that they're brewing it, and it's good, it's balanced, it's easy drinking, it's crisp, it's refreshing, it's all of those things. And the yuzu is not overwhelming, not a adjunct that takes over or anything like that. It's just a little accent that just adds something, and I think it's very good.
What did you say earlier? It's a little woo.
It's a little woo.
Yeah.
It's a little kiss. Just floating around.
What's cool is like Japanese lagers, like even if it's not yuzu, you can kind of not do a lot with it, but there's you have options. You know, there's the rice lager, there's the yuzu, there's the, they throw in like, I think we've seen some where it's like they'll have like a specific berry be the star of the show, whatever it is.
Yeah, totally. That said, we are going to move on now. If I'm honest with you, I'm being very careful about opening this beer. So you go ahead and talk, because you may have had some issues opening this beer earlier.
Oh boy. It was rough. I
can tell it's going the same way for me. So I'm going to just be a little gentle here, because I got equipment in the room.
Please do. I don't know what happened, but it didn't just like, it's foaming and it overflowed a little bit. This thing literally fucking exploded on me. My sock has never been more wet in my life. But I saved the beer. A little foam came out. We will live. We are drinking the Ramble On IPA. This is a double dry hopped West Coast IPA.
Give me a hell yeah!
Mm-hmm.
Because we love them West Coasters. It is 7%. IBU's 80. Woo! Beer Advocate has yet to review it. Untapped gave it a 3.7. On the SRM chart, I would say maybe between maybe a 6, 7. It's got the little bit of orangey color. It looks more yellow on camera, but in person it's a little more orangey. Not all the way see-through. Kind of not cloudy, but it's just tough to see through.
Just a slight bit of cloudiness to it. I would give it probably a 5 or a 6 as well. It's sort of like a golden yellow color, slightly amber, but definitely the slight cloudiness that's there. It is not hazy. It's definitely looks like a West Coast IPA. It poured with a hell of a lot of foam. Yeah, I mean, I was just slow to crack that can open, because when I started to crack it, I could just see it starting to foam. She's mean. Yeah, she's mean, and she's attacking us. And she's got a bite to it, like this creature that is on the can, which is basically a set of dentures in a detective uniform or something, chomping on. It's like those wind-up teeth. Yeah.
Yeah, the little toy.
80 IBUs. Let's talk about that for a second. Yeah. So we talk about IBUs every now and then. I like to reset and make sure everybody's on the same page about what that means. IBUs is the International Bitterness Unit. It's a generally agreed upon, more or less scale where we can determine how bitter a beer is. The more IBUs that are in the beer, the more bitter the beer is. And the way I like to look at it is a standard for the IPA is that you want the ABV and the IBUs to be right at about the same number. So if you have a 6% IPA and 60 IBUs, that is a balanced, more traditionally maybe West Coast IPA. This one is 7% ABV, 80 IBUs. The IBUs are higher than the ABV. That means it's a bitter beer. That means it's a West Coast beer on paper, which gets me excited, if I'm honest. Is that a good explanation?
No, that was great. When we see the IBUs match the ABV, we call that a bang bang chicken and shrimp. That's
chicken and shrimp.
You would get that joke if you watched Hard Knocks on HBO.
You lived with us, basically.
Yeah, if you lived with us.
The hops are Citrus, Simcoe, and Belma. Did we say that already?
We did not.
I was distracted.
You for saying that. I don't think we've had Belma before. Welcome to the show, Bell Girl.
Belma, welcome in. Citra and Simcoe, we're very used to you.
Citra and Simcoe, sit down. The brewery says, his rambling mouth moves so quickly you wonder if those are even words he's uttering. Tiny nerves in your face twitch in irritation as you stand there in full assault of his self-absorbed monologue. Oh, wow, this is for us. It could be worse, you suppose. Your attention wanders as you take another long pull of your Ramble On IPA. Warmth spreads throughout your body as the bright tangerine, citrus flavor, and aroma envelops the rest of your consciousness. The rambling man doesn't seem to notice as your unfocused eyes glaze over and yup, and great automatically escape from your lips without thought or awareness.
So what's your impression of the guy who writes these descriptions on these cans? Is it just like a, let's go, and then he just starts writing what comes to his mind?
I think it's one of two things. I think it's that, or he's like, got like a handlebar mustache, drinks beer from like a sipping glass with a pinky out. He's very sophisticated and he thinks he's better than everyone, and he very well might be.
He definitely might be.
It's kind of cool though. It's like wow, this is not just a beer. We're reading something specific here.
Yeah, it's beer and poetry. I'm excited to get into it. I will tell you, the head was thick, but not long for this world. It has since dissipated into basically nothing. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot of lacing going down the glass. We will report back. I am going to smell this beer, and Gabe's drinking out of a Kobe glass because California. Kobe.
Yeah, and what's funny is I didn't even make the connection. I just grabbed the glass because I was like, I haven't drinking out of this in a while, but California, it makes sense. This smells like a West Coast. I am so excited. It smells bitter, smells citrusy, smells like a party at 80 IBUs. When's the last time we had a beer? Well, I guess if you do it right, any 8% beer, you can say that. But I don't remember seeing it in front of me and going, wow, 80, huh?
It's a lot. I mean, and it smells, like you said, it smells like it. It's the citrus built. So, I mean, when we talk IPAs, we have to talk about, obviously we're smelling citrus. What kind of citrus? In this case, it's dank, it's piney, it's less tropical, it's less of the mango pineapple, and it's more grapefruit rind, orange, clementine. It's pithy, it's dark. It is full of that like resinous quality, that dank quality on the nose. It's just very hoppy, very floral in a different way from the florality of the lager. The lager I mentioned was kind of like lavender. This is more a different kind of flower, a hop flower, if you will.
It smells dank as hell. This smells like, woo, like heads up, you better Uber home.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that it smells boozy necessarily, but that dank hop bite definitely tingles your nose and makes you go, oh, there's something going on in here. The malt gets completely buried. It's not what this is about at all. I guess it
smells a little candied in a way, kind of like what a triple would smell like, but just like a hint of it.
Yeah, the hop oil and the kind of sugary quality of that is definitely present. Trying to see what else I get out of it. And then some like, in addition to the citrus, there's some like berry, a little bit of like currant, maybe a little like red, like dark red berry or blackberry almost. There's something interesting happening, which I think is coming from probably the Belma hops, because it's not something I typically associate with Citra or Simcoe, but I like it.
Belma, baby.
Belma, baby. To Belma. She deserves it.
To Belma.
She worked hard for this.
Good for her.
Baby got bite.
Baby got bite. Whip.
It's citrusy. Lots of that bite on the back end. It's dank. It's hoppy. A little bit of grassy quality because it is dry hopped, and the Simcoe brings that kind of pithy quality to it. It's not out of balance, but it is a really good, really pleasing West Coast IPA, a style that we say often, I think, gets lost in this modern world of the hazies and the New Englands. If you're somebody that likes the old school IPAs, the ones that made Sierra Nevada famous, you will like this. It's got all of the things you love about drinking a beer with that hop bite, really just really in there. If you're on YouTube, you can take a look at the Ramble On can. There are just dentures chomping, and that is what this beer will do to your soul and your spirit. It is dank, and
she's gonna take a bite out of you, but it's gonna be so worth it. We promise. It's awesome.
She's gonna take a bite out of you, but it's gonna feel great.
Does it make sense to rank these? Or not rank necessarily, but like, what would you're going to get your third beer. What do you grab?
I'm grabbing the IPA, but that's because I'm a basic bitch. And I tend to gravitate towards, like, if it's my third beer, school's out. You know what I mean? We're not here to think. We're not taking any AP tests. Give me the bread and butter.
We're not doing any taxes.
No, it's party time, baby. Give me another IPA. But it's not to take away from the Gonzo. It's just like the Gonzo is going to go in a flight or if I'm having dinner. Yeah, if it's my third beer and dinner is served, maybe I'll be like, you know what? It's vacation. Give me the Gonzo. But if it's my third beer and I'm at the brewery and I'm like with friends and it's like we're moving from like fun social time to like sloppy time, just give me a IPA. Let's keep this party going.
Yeah.
What about you?
I want to say IPA, but there's something that keeps bringing me back to that Gonzo. It's just so delicious and the flavors are just so dope. I agree with you though. I feel like this Ramble On, this West Coast IPA, this is the beer that like makes me want to say to you like, hey, let's go play beer pong with those randos. And you're like, oh, we don't need to do that. And I'm like, no, yeah, we do. Like that confidence just builds from drinking too much. But the Gonzo makes me want to eat and be sophisticated.
You know what's so funny is you say that, and I was literally telling someone a story like that, like the other day, about you doing that to me.
Oh yeah, I'm like, what's up, guys? We got next, and Steven's like, we got what? I'm like, we're fine.
That used to be my nightmare. Like we used to. We've talked about this on the mics before, but when Gabe and I used to go out, I used to be like, if anybody challenges us to an athletic event, the answer is no.
The answer is yes. We need to step up and claim our turf. Unless it was darts. Darts, you were usually the first one at the board, like, nah, let's do this. I'm like,
darts,
right.
I was fine with. I remember, this is not, nobody needs to hear this. But we used to take a basketball out in New York every now and then and go out with shoot hoops. And I'm not trying to, I don't know how to play basketball. I'm not trying to teach anybody any lessons or get into any fights on the street. I'm just here to throw it at a hole and hope it goes inside. That's it. And then inevitably when you have a basketball and you're two dudes, like somebody will come up to you, hey, do you want to play doubles? And I
fun times, am I right?
I think you knew better than to say yes to that, but that's my nightmare. Yeah. Speaking of owning your turf, is that what you said? You know what owns its turf? This can art owns its turf, and
sure
I like
does.
it. And I'm here for it, and I need to hear the words, the thoughts, the wisdom of the one, the only, the incomparable, the incredible Bobbert Thelonious Ross.
Can Art and Crafts.
Oh boy, I really want to know who designs this can artwork because they did a really good fucking job. Let's start with the Gonzo Mania. We've got, all of the can artwork is very, very similar. We've got this like big, bold, and beautiful cartoon looking artwork, big, bright colors. We've got a cat. And like I said, it's that cat that does the thing. You go into the shop and it's just the one arm moving. Steven obviously doesn't know what I'm talking about, but the rest of our listeners probably will. Futuristic glasses, bell around his neck, beer in his hand. He looks like he is having a good time. He looks like how you should be looking while you're drinking this beer. We've got the Ramble On IPA. We've got this little like Sherlock Holmes looking guy, but his face is literally the wind up chomping teeth. Big, bold, beautiful colors all around. White can on all of them. Like I said, the artwork is very similar. It is very compact. It is quite literally unlike any other beer I've ever seen. And I think we'll have room somewhere in the club. If we just move some people over to the side and give them their own seats, I think they'll be in the club. We've got another 10 out of 10. This beer artwork is incredible. Can't mistake it. You will never mistake this brewery if the beers are next to other ones, and that is how I feel. That is how Bob Ross feels. Bob Ross ate way too much candy on Halloween because everyone thought he was in costume, so they gave him extra. But he's also a big fan of these beers, the brewery, and Can Arts and Crafts.
What else is on tap? The core beers contain the two that we are currently drinking, both out of the core lineup, along with an amber. They have a Pushing Daisies, which is a Czech Pilsner. They have 1-800-Tropics. That is a hazy IPA.
I love the 1-800-Tropics one. It's literally a toucan man on the phone. It's great.
The artwork across the board is awesome. I'm a little disappointed that they have a hazy IPA, if I'm honest, because they say they focus on West Coast IPAs, but I'll give it to them because on their website, they describe it as a New England style IPA. So props to you for knowing what is the correct
terminology.
They have a Black Sunshine, which is a stout. And then in the specialty release beers, currently, Steady Hand is an IPA, just a West Coast IPA. Taking Root is also a West Coast IPA. Okay.
Nice.
And let's see if we're going for 3. No.
Earthless Cosmic Ale, a dry hopped blonde.
With Eldorado hops. Eldorado! Okay.
Woo!
I have to do that every time Eldorado hops come up. And
why? I don't even get the reference.
You don't even get nobody does. Nobody's ever seen The Road to Eldorado.
I just thought you were having a moment. I don't know.
No, it's The Road to Eldorado, the animated classic from, is that even Disney? I don't even know.
That's right. I remember you, because I think we were recording an episode and I was like, oh, what movie? And you were like, you haven't seen it. How dare you?
I know. I've come to find out nobody's seen it. I don't even think it's Disney. Is it like...
Steven, be honest with me. Is this a movie you made?
Yeah, I made it. I wish. It's got Kenneth Branagh and Kevin Kline.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm slightly less sarcastic now. Wait a minute. It's called The Road to El Dorado?
The Road to El Dorado with music by Elton John. Heard of him?
IMDb, here we come.
I might take that back. He might have just narrated it. But it's got music by Hans Zimmer and John Powell. It's DreamWorks. It's like an OG DreamWorks movie from 2000.
Oh,
it's like pre-Shrek DreamWorks.
I know this movie.
See?
I haven't seen it, but I know of it. Yeah, these cartoon guys.
It's great. I might watch it tonight.
Oh my God, I forgot about this.
Also, for a kid's movie from 2000, weirdly raunchy, if I'm honest.
Really?
Definitely some darkness and definitely some... Hanky Pank was had in that movie for sure, and it's like a little bit not subtle.
They had to learn sooner or later. I can also confirm Elton John did narrate, and Rosie Perez, love her.
Rosie Perez.
Anyway,
sorry for the tangents, but you know what?
Oh, they're
actually
great.
I'm not sorry. This is what we do.
I'm not sorry. No, it's fun.
So they have beer style. They have their core beers, and then they have beers that rotate through all the time. Definitely something for everybody, except for sour people. They kind of leave you in the lurch, but that's okay.
Oops.
He said whoops. We have one more potentially depressing thing to talk about before we get out of here. Gabe, are you ready to do it?
It's been so sad, but funny, but not sad, but sad. But it is what it is. Yes, I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
Last call.
All right.
We're back in Atlanta.
We are. A lot of shit goes down in Atlanta. So this happened a couple weeks ago. In towards the end of October, a woman named Susan Hodgson was away on vacation, and she came home and her house wasn't there anymore. Let's put it that way.
Oh my
God. Her home was accidentally demolished
Oh my God.
while she was soaking up the sunshine.
Oh my God.
And it's crazy. It's a crazy story. It's like, this is not intended, like, this is not a funny situation for her. It's more just like a think piece on our end of like, what would you do? This woman, she was away, you know, it's a vacant house. They boarded up, they maintain the house, they do everything, but she was away. It's actually unclear if she was actually on vacation or if she was just, you know, if she has another home somewhere she spends time at. And she got a call from her neighbor saying, did you hire someone to tear your house down? And she was like, no. The neighbor went over there and told them to stop. And the workers apparently told that neighbor to fuck off. At which point they sent a family member over to the property and the family member asked for a work permit. At which point the workers realized, oh my, we made a whoopsie.
Ruh-roh.
We're at the wrong address.
Oh my God. You can't mess that up.
And they gave her an R bad and a happy hi ho. And they hopped off to the correct address where they performed more destruction. She's left with a pile of rocks and
shattered memories.
What do you do? What would you do? This is crazy.
So I've thought about this. I think my first thought would be whatever state I am in that this happened. She's in Atlanta, so I would go to the people of Georgia and I would say, hey guys, just want to let you all know what's happened. I went on vacation. I came home. My house is destroyed by some of your workers. So you let me know. You take all the time you need, but you let me know when my new house is ready. I'm going to go stay in some lodging that you will inevitably pay me back for. And we're all just going to have a laugh about this when I'm living in my new home that you were going to build for me. Because there's no way in hell that you mother effers will be getting away with this.
Yeah, I mean, someone's got to, presumably she's got to have insurance or the company or someone's got to be making this woman whole, I would imagine. This can't possibly, but it's like, I mean, she was interviewed about it and she said, I think he owes us an apology and they need to fix the problem. And I'm like, that's shockingly cavalier because apology or no apology, you can't really fix the fact that, like, you know, your memories are like, I mean, that's there's some stuff in the house you can't get back. You know what I mean? Like
my cutlery.
Some things are forever, and that's unfortunate.
That stuff is gone. My question is, like, can you imagine going away? You're like, all right, it's vacation. I've been working hard. I've been saving up for this trip. Just me, myself, and I'm gonna go to the beach. I'm going to go to the Caribbean and I'm going to have a great time. And you're lounging and you're drinking pina coladas and you're getting, those guys have the big leafs and they're fanning you down and they're just treating you like the queen you deserve. Are you
vacationing in ancient Greece? What is?
I don't know, but there's just a lot going on and it's all positive. And then you come back and you're like, what a great relaxing vacation. I'm ready to get back into it. And you're home is just gone.
Or like, what about being the neighbors and just like hearing a noise outside? You go to the window and you're like, honey, did the Smiths decide to knock it down? What? Just wood flying in all directions. Like,
are they moving?
Even if that was the plan on the books, I'd still be like, I feel like we should have gotten a memo or a notice or something. Yeah. I mean,
hey,
there's massive construction happening.
It's like, you know, when you have a party and you know you're going to be loud, you go up to the neighbors and you're like, hey, listen, just so you know, it's going to be a lot of people. You have to give a courtesy like, hey, just so you know, I'm knocking my house down on Tuesday, so just like steer clear of the area.
Yeah, I mean, thank God no one was inside the thing and, she hadn't like left a pet behind or anything like that.
Oh, God. Can you imagine?
I don't want to, but... Yeah, this is just, again, we're not trying to make light of the situation. This is devastating and very sad for her, I'm sure. And it's mostly just an unbelievable story. This last call is more about, I can't believe this happened and less about like, let's make fun of this situation.
Yeah, I agree. We're laughing and we're having a good time. But yeah, I feel the same way. It's just like, who didn't show up to work that day mentally and just was like, all right, it's house 234. And it's like, no, it's 235. And they're like, oh, whatever. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, I need to know somebody was fired. This
Yeah.
this is what you get fired for. This is on the list of fireable offenses, I would say.
There's no coming back from this.
If you mistype that 7 as a 3 on the address form and knock down somebody's childhood hopes and dreams.
Oh my God. And it's not just like they were putting in a window. They knocked it down.
Yeah, it's like the worst possible thing they could have ever been doing. I mean,
oh, man.
If they like mowed the wrong lawn, it wouldn't be a big deal. Also, thank you. But yeah, that's we hope that gets sorted out. That's what we found this week.
What was her name? Susan, baby girl, listen, we're here with you. We will pray for you. And
we raise a glass to you.
Yeah, like I said, you're not at fault. Someone's at fault. So whether it's the construction company or the state, somebody's going to hook you up with a new home. They have to.
Yeah. Or else
there will be hell to pay.
Georgia.
All the weird shit's been happening in Georgia.
It all happens in Georgia. Anywho, we gotta get the F out of here. Booze Brothers Brewing. If you're in California or some parts of Oregon, get your hands on their can. Otherwise, you know what? Head down to San Diego. I've been there. I go there a lot. Great place to visit. Can't recommend it enough. Lots of good breweries there. Plenty of them have been on our show. Booze
Remember
Brothers
when the
is one of them.
Chargers used to play there and we were really bad, and now we play in Los Angeles and we're
still really
bad? Yay.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but hey.
Someone has to.
I'm right there with you. My team is also really bad. All right, let's put a stop to this now. Get out of here. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Gearing up for Thanksgiving. Till then, take care of each other.
Cheers, all.